We begin with the 11th lecture on module 2 of subject direct taxation, that is income from salaries. In this module, as you know already, what all is covered, and we are just pending with valuation and taxability of perquisites, income from house property, which we have only theory aspect, and problems on salary income. So today we will be covering valuation and taxability of perquisites. So in today's module, we will be seeing the different perquisites that an employer gives to his employees and what is the value of that perquisite that we have to take in calculating the income from the head salary of a respective employee. So everyone please pay attention. Format again I'm just revising because this is very important. Basic salary 100% of it will be chargeable to tax. Fees commission 100% will be chargeable to tax. Bonus 100%. Allowances we have three types: fully taxable, partly taxable, and fully exempt. So which is fully taxable 100% you need to take in the outer column, which is partially taxable, or you can say partially exempt, you need to have a working note, then derive at the taxable value and then take it in the outer column. And in case of fully exempt, nothing will come in the outer column. Perquisites we will be dealing in today's lecture. Then we know voluntary retirement compensation, we have calculations, retrenchment compensation, we have provisions, leave travel concession, we have to see in which route he's traveling through, and based on that concession is given. Leave encashment, again provisions we have to use. There is exemption for gratuity, also there is exemption. Uncommuted pension, also there is certain exemption. Commuted pension and provident fund. So all these we have already seen how to calculate individually. Then after adding all that, we get gross salary, and then we have certain deductions under head income from salaries, which will be universal fixed for all sums under income from head salaries. So we have standard deduction, we have entertainment allowance, which is only and only given as a deduction for government employees, and we have professional tax. So these three are the deductions under the head income from head salaries. When we minus gross salary from this deduction, we get income from the head salary. Why am I revising this again and again? Because this format is important, and a full-fledged sum on income from head salaries is sure to come. Okay. So let us move ahead. Now, what are perquisites, students? Already I have explained in my initial classes for the module 2 that perquisites are nothing but they are the additional benefits that are given to an employee. Okay. Apart from his normal salary, if any additional benefit is given to an employee, it is called as perquisites. Okay. So the term perquisite indicates some extra benefit in addition to the amount that may be legally due by the way of contract for services rendered. Now I am working in Jain College. I am getting my salary, which is my normal salary I'll get every month. Apart from that, if Jain College is giving me some additional benefit, suppose it is giving me free subsidized lunch free of cost. Suppose it is bearing my traveling expenses. So all that is something which I'm getting over and above my normal salary. Correct? So that becomes my perquisites. So now you all may have a doubt that what is the difference between perquisite and allowances. So students, in allowance, what happens is when I'm given a house rent allowance, or maybe I'm given some other allowance. So in allowance, what happens? Company gives me in the form of monetary value, and I get that money, actual money I get in the form of allowance, and that I will be taking as an exemption based on the provisions of income tax. But in case of perquisite, what happens? There are non-monetary benefits. Like suppose if Jain College is looking after my transportation facility from my home up to the college. So is that in kind or is that in cash? It is in kind, because I'm actually not receiving the money, but I'm receiving the services. So perquisites may also be in cash. There are certain perquisites which may also be in cash, but it is very rare. Mostly perquisites are given in the form of kind. So that is the difference. Allowances in the monetary form, but perquisites are mostly in kind. When I say mostly, that means it may also be in cash, but much rarely. Okay. I hope you'll have understood what is the meaning of perquisites. Okay. Now there are three types of perquisites. Like there are certain perquisites which are given by the company or by the employer, and that perquisite is taxable in case of all the employees. When I say all the employees means all the level of employees, maybe lower level employees, middle level employees, or top management. So they are taxable in case of all the employees. There are certain perquisites which are given by the company or the employer. When I say company, it means employer. So when they are given by the employer, they are exempt from the tax in case of all the employees. And there are certain perquisites which are taxable, but only in hands of specified employees. Now, what is specified employees? We will be seeing very shortly in the succeeding slides. But remember, students, all the perquisites that are given by the employer are not chargeable to tax 100%. There is, depending upon what type of perquisite, it is taxable. So first, a situation is perquisites taxable, which are only taxable in case of all the employees. Perquisites which are exempt in case of all the employees, and perquisites taxable only in hands of specified employees. So let us see all these three types. So first, let us see what are all the perquisites which are taxable in case of all the employees. What are the different types of perquisites? So on my left hand side, I have the different types of perquisites and what is the value of which. When I say taxable, taxable means obviously you have to take it in the mean format while calculating income from the head salaries. So at what value are you going to take in respect of each of this perquisite in the outer column while calculating income from the head salaries? Okay, so one by one, let us see. First one is obligation of the employee discharged by the employer. Many a times what happens is the employer pays certain obligations of the employees. When I say obligation of the employees, that means certain expenses which which actually the employee is supposed to bear, but it is borne by the employer. Then it is a perquisite, correct? Because actually employer is giving the additional benefit by paying the amount on behalf of the employee. So it is a perquisite, and such perquisite, if it is given to it will be taxable if it is given to any type of employee. So what is the value you will take? Whatever obligation has been discharged. Suppose, for example, if professional tax is paid by the employer, actually who has to pay the professional tax? The employee has to pay. But suppose if the employer is paying the professional tax, then the amount of professional tax, whatever is being paid by the employer, will be the value of perquisite that you have to take in the outer column. We can have other example also, like suppose if employee is taken a personal loan and it is actually the loan repayment is made by the employer. Now it is again a perquisite. So what is the value of such perquisite you will take? You will take the value of actual repayment of personal loan. What is the actual personal loan repaid by the employer will be taken in the outer column to calculate the value of perquisites. Next, any sum payable by the employer to effect an assurance on the life of the employee or to the effect of contract for. So this is nothing but very simple. If the employer is paying on the life insurance of an employee, the premium is paid by the employer, then obviously actually the employee is supposed to pay the premium for his life insurance. But suppose if it is paid by the employer, then it is a perquisite. Then when employees income from head salary will be calculated, what is the value of the perquisite you're going to take? Actual expenditure incurred by the employer. So what is the amount of premium that the employer is actually paying? That should be added to the income from salaries in respect of such employee. So in simple, I'll just tell you all students, this is a non-monetary benefit given to an employee. So you have to just convert the non-monetary benefit into the monetary benefit, and such monetary amount you have to take in the outer column of your in case of computation of income from head salaries. Next, interest-free or concessional loan exceeding 20,000. So suppose if the employer is giving a interest-free loan or a concessional loan which of a value exceeding 20,000, then it is obviously a perquisite. So what is the value you're going to take? Interest computed at the rate charged by SBI as on first day of the relevant previous year in respect of loans for similar purposes on the maximum outstanding monthly balance minus interest actually paid by the employee. See, when I say concessional loan, what do you mean by concessional loan? Suppose if the employee has taken a loan of 1 lakh rupees and he is actually paying interest on only suppose 30,000. So there is a concession given by the employer to the employee. So interest what actually is paid by the employee has to be minus. So 30,000 interest is actually paid by the employee, that has to be minused, and the balance that has to be minused with the interest rate of SBI as on the first day of the relevant previous year. Next, value of gift or voucher. If the employer is giving any gift or a voucher to his employee, obviously it is a perquisite, and such perquisite is taxable in case of all the employees. And what is the value that you will take it in the outer column? Sum equal to the amount of such gift. Okay. If value of gift is below 5,000, there would be no perquisite. So an employer is allowed to give employee any gift which is below 5,000, and that will not be counted as a perquisite, that will not be taxable. But suppose if any employer is giving employee a gift which is more than 5,000, then it will be considered as a perquisite in the hands of the employee, and you have to convert that gift into monetary value. What is the actual value or amount of that gift? That amount will be taken in the outer column while calculating income from head salaries. Next is valuation of rent-free accommodation, which we will be seeing in the next slide. Use of movable assets. See, many a times what happens is, first let me explain valuation of rent-free accommodation. What is the meaning of rent-free accommodation? See, accommodation is a place to stay, correct? Now, rent-free means where the company gives the employee a place to stay but is not charging rent from the employee. So it is giving the employee accommodation, a place to stay free of cost, where it is not charging any rent from the employee. Okay, that is called rent-free accommodation. So obviously rent-free accommodation is a perquisite, a benefit that the employee is getting over and above his normal salary. So how to value? What is the value of it that you will take it while calculating income from head salaries? Next is use of, we will see in the succeeding slide. Next is use of movable assets. Now, what is the meaning of movable assets? Many a times company gives the employees laptops, computers to use. So they're movable assets, either for office use, and sometimes they even give for personal use. So in that case, it is a perquisite. And how to calculate that? What value what value of it has to be taken? So that we will be seeing. Next, transfer of movable assets. Many a times after 5 or 6 years of use of the laptop, what the company has given the employee, usually the company will transfer the laptop to the employees, okay, after certain specific period of use. So in case of transfer of movable asset also, what happens is it is a perquisite, and how to value that, what taxable value has to be taken in calculating income from head salaries, we need to check. So students, have you all understood this part? See, this is not very important. From perquisites taxable in case of employees, the most important is rent-free accommodation. Usually the question on which maximum times which has been asked is valuation of rent-free accommodation. Rest all you all just need to know. In case if it comes, you all should know what is the value you have to take in case of taxability in such type of perquisites. So have you all understood this slide? Remember this, if these perquisites are given to any employee, it will be 100% taxable, and the value what is taxable is based on the right hand side of what I have explained. So have you understood this slide, students? What is perquisites and what is the meaning of taxability in case of all the employees? If yes, we will be moving ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now next, let us see value. Now we will be seeing valuation of rent-free accommodation, use of movable asset, and transfer of movable asset. This is very, very, very important, students, because I'll just tell you all those perquisites which are important and frequently asked in the examination. So understand this very nicely. First of all, I explained you all what is rent-free accommodation, correct? Okay. Next, see, rent-free accommodation is an accommodation that is given to by an employer to his employee without charging any rent. Okay. Suppose we have divided here, I have like the provisions have been divided into two parts, where the accommodation is provided by the government to his employees and where the accommodation is provided by any other employer. When I say any other employer means it is not government. It may be a private employer. It may be a semi-government employer. Okay. So remember. So suppose if the employer is a government, so it will be what is the value of rent-free accommodation? License fee determined by government. So for example, if I am working in a government organization where my employer is a government, okay, now it is giving me rent-free accommodation. And when I am filing my income tax, I have to show this as a perquisite. Yes. Now, what is the value of this perquisite that I have to show? The value as determined by the government. If government says that you have to show 2000 per month as the value of this rent-free accommodation, then I have to quietly listen to the government and write that 2000 per month, that is 24,000 into 12. When you do, it will come 24,000. So simply where the accommodation is provided by government to employees, you have no calculations, nothing in the problem. Directly it will be given that the value as determined by the government is so much based. You have to take that value and put it in the outer column. So mostly problems on the first part will not be asked because it is very simple. It does not have any type of calculation. So remember, where the accommodation, where the employer is government and it is providing the rent-free accommodation to the employees, then what is the value that you're going to take as the rent-free accommodation? You're going to take the license fee determined by government. Students, pay attention to this provision because I'll be asking you all, because this is very, very important. Next, second part is, suppose the accommodation is provided by any other employer. Any other employer means it is provided, for example, if I am working in a private organization, okay, then this provision will be applicable to me. Now suppose if the accommodation is owned by the employer, see, there can be two things. Accommodation can be owned by the employer and that accommodation is provided by the employer for me to stay in there, or if the accommodation is taken on lease by the employer. So remember, there are two parts in that. Suppose the employer is owning that accommodation, he's the owner of that accommodation, or if the accommodation is taken on lease of the by the employer. See, many a times what happens, there is like in schools there are teachers colony. So where certain school provide accommodation for the teachers to stay. So that colony of houses is usually owned by that particular school. So here in that example, it becomes accommodation is owned by the employer. But suppose if the school is taking the house on rent or lease and then providing to teachers. So it is if accommodation is taken on lease by the employer. All the employers cannot own its own place of stay for its employee. So some take it on lease and some are owning it. So based on whether they have taken on lease or whether the employer is actually owning, is the owner of it, calculations will differ. So see here, if accommodation is owned by the employer, then you have to start checking the population. Cities that are having population which is more than 25 lakhs, okay, then what is the value you will take in the outer column? Like what is going to be the value of this perquisite? It is going to be 15% of salary in respect of the period of occupation minus rent recovered from the employee. Now, you all must be wondering, I'm telling rent-free accommodation and what is the meaning of rent recovered from employee? See here, accommodation can be two types, either 100% rent-free accommodation or it can be concessional rent-free accommodation. When I say concessional, what does it mean? Suppose the the value of that accommodation, the rent of that accommodation per month is suppose 1,500. Okay, and as an employer, if I am charging only 200 rupees per month from the employee, so that means I have given the employee to use that accommodation at a concessional rate. So it is a concessional rent-free accommodation. Like out of 1,500, I'm recovering only 200 from the employee. Remaining amount 1,300, I am giving him as a free accommodation to stay in. So 15% of salary minus if any rent recovered from employee. See, this minus rent recovered from employee will be applicable only when employer is charging some minimal amount from the employee. If he's 100%, if he's giving rent free accommodation, then this minus rent recovered from the employee will not come into question only. But suppose if he's recovering a little bit amount of that rent from the employee, then you have to minus the rent that he's recovering from the employee. Then the next thing is cities having population which is more than 10 lakhs but less than or equal to 25 lakhs, then you have to take 10% of salary in respect of the period of accommodation, period of occupation minus rent recovered from employee. And in case of any other city, okay, then you have to take 7.5% of salary in respect of the period of occupation minus rent recovered from the employee. So cities having a population which is less than 10 lakhs, you have to take 7.5% of salary in respect of the period of occupation minus rent recovered from employee. Now students, here all salary, salary, salary. Now what is the meaning of salary for the purpose of calculating the valuation of rent-free accommodation? So remember, it is basic salary plus dearness allowance, and dearness allowance only if it qualifies for retirement benefit, plus commission. Now for perquisite, remember commission, it can be any commission. Commission as a percentage of turnover or it can be fixed commission. So only for the purpose of rent-free accommodation, salary means basic salary, dearness allowance if it qualifies for retirement benefit. Commission means any type of commission plus your bonus plus your fees and plus your taxable allowances. So in short, salary for the purpose of rent-free accommodation will mean everything exception your perquisites. Everything exception your perquisites will be the salary for the purpose of rent-free accommodation. Now, next, if accommodation is taken on lease by the employer, now employer is not owning that accommodation, but he's taking it on lease and giving it free of cost to the employee to stay, or it is giving at a concessional rate for the employee to stay, then what is the value you are going to take of that perquisite? Lower of lease rental paid or payable by the employer or 15% of salary. So lease rental See, obviously, if the employer is taking that accommodation on lease, it has to pay lease rental. So whatever lease rental the employer is paying actually, or 15% of salary, whichever is less. And suppose if it is collecting minimal charges from the employee, then less rent actually paid by the employee. This less rent actually paid by the employee will come only into picture when it is giving at a concessional rate, or it is recovering some amount of that accommodation from the employee. Otherwise, this will not come into picture. So have you all understood this? This is providing an accommodation unfurnished. This, when I on the left hand side, it means providing accommodation which is calculating the taxability of perquisite in respect of rent-free accommodation, where the accommodation is unfurnished. Now, when I say furnished, what do you mean by unfurnished? Means just it is giving place to stay, where there is no kind of furniture, like no furniture means there is no television set, or maybe refrigerator, household appliances, air condition, plant machinery, your this sofa set. There is no kind of furniture in that house. It is a plain flat, or maybe plain house, okay, where you have to furnish it. Now, suppose if all these things are provided and it is a furnished house. Now, suppose if the employer is providing a furnished house to the employee. Furnished house means where the employee is just supposed to take his suitcase and he can shift the house to the furnished house where everything is there. He has to just take his clothing. Rest, everything is available in the furnished house. Like I told you all that the TV is there, fridge is there, the kitchen appliances are there, air condition is there, everything is there. He has to just take his clothes. So if it is a furnished house that is being for the accommodation, what is the perquisite that you're going to take in the outer column is, first you have to calculate based on the unfurnished house. So value as per unfurnished accommodation, plus you're going to add 10% per annum of the cost of furniture. Suppose the furniture in that house is owned by the employer, then you have to add 10% per annum the cost of furniture. In the exam, cost of furniture will be given. Suppose if the furniture is taken by the employer on hire means on lease. So if it is taken on lease, if the furniture is not belonging to the employer and he is taken on rental basis, then to the value as per unfurnished accommodation, you have to add actual hire charges paid. Okay, only if the furniture is taken on hire. See, either they can be two things. Furniture belongs completely to the employer, or furniture is taken by the employer on rental basis. If furniture is owned by the employer, you have to add 10% per annum of the cost of furniture to the value of unfurnished accommodation. And if the furniture is taken on rental basis, then you have to add actual hire charges paid by the employer to that person who's giving the furniture on rent, and you have to add it to the value as per unfurnished accommodation, and then you will get value of rent-free accommodation that you have to take it in column under the heading perquisites while calculating your income from the head salaries. So have you all understood this part, students? Have you all understood what is the meaning of salary for the purpose of rent-free accommodation? Have you all understood the difference between unfurnished house and furnished house? So just to revise this slide, accommodation provided the employee may be divided in furnished house, depending upon whether it is unfurnished, furnished, calculation value range. Further, accommodation can be provided 100% rent free or at concessional rate. Whenever there is a rate means always you have to minus rent recovered from employee. Always, if it is at concessional rate, make sure that whatever calculations you are doing, always minus rent recovered from the employee. Second thing is, either the accommodation can be provided by an employer who is government or non-government. If it is provided by a employer who is government, then what is the value of accommodation as determined by government? If it is provided by a non-government organization, then You have to check whether that organization is owning the accommodation, is the owner of the accommodation, or is taking on lease. If is the owner of the accommodation, then based on the population in the city, you have to calculate. And suppose if he's taking it on lease, then whatever lease rentals he is paying of 15% of salary will be taken as the value of perquisite. Have you all understood this slide, students, or any doubt you all have? You all will understand this better once we start solving the problems on perquisites. Students, have you all understood this slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, suppose if employer is providing accommodation to an employee in a hotel. Okay. Many a times, usually what happens is companies usually have branches all over, India. There are some companies who have branches all over India. So suppose if Bajaj is having his headquarters in Pune, and it is transferring one employee for some 1 month work or for 45 days work to Bangalore office. Okay, so it is providing that employee a hotel stay. Correct. So it is providing an hotel stay. So in case of that, what is the value? That also is an accommodation. And hotel also is an accommodation. So what is the value of that perquisite that will be taken as 24% of salary or actual charges of hotel paid by the employer, whichever is less. This is less asked in the exam. So I'm just, for your information, I'm telling you all, if the stay is in the hotel, okay, provided by the employer, then what is the value of that perquisite that you're going to take is 24% salary or hotel charges, whichever is less. You're going to take that as a value of perquisites. And remember, students, if the stay is only up to 15 days, suppose in rent-free accommodation, stay either in the hotel, flat, or anything, if the stay is only for 15 days, not more than that, then you have to ignore it. You have to not consider the value of it as a perquisite. You have to just ignore it if the stay is only for 15 days. Okay. And accommodation even in the remote area where there is no place to stay and it's a remote area also is tax free. So these are the notes or points that you'll need to remember in case of rent free accommodation. We will also be dealing it in it while solving the problems. Okay, now let us see the next is use of movable assets. So very easy this is. Suppose if the asset given by the employer to the employee is a laptop or a computer, the value of benefit will be nil. So it is exempt. You need not charge it as a perquisite in the outer column. But suppose if you are using any other movable asset other than laptops or computer, then what is the value of benefit? 10% per annum of the actual cost of such asset or the amount of rent or charge paid or payable by the employer as the case may be. So again, if it is a movable asset which is owned by the employer, okay, and the employee is using it, so it is going to be 10% per annum of the cost of such asset. But suppose if the employer is taking it on hire or rental basis, then whatever actual rental charges is paid by the employer, that will be the value of benefit that you have to take it in the outer column while calculating perquisite in respect of movable assets. Is this slide clear? It is nothing, it's very simple. Is this slide clear? Can we move ahead? Students, have you all slept?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you all have slept.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, if the employer given a vehicle, then where it should take?
Vehicle also will come here, but in perquisites, use of motor vehicle has a separate provision which we'll be seeing in the succeeding slides. So if vehicles is taxable only in case of specified employees. See, just remember that an organization will not give any employee vehicle to use. Usually vehicles are given to specified employees. Now, who is specified employees? I'll tell you all in the succeeding slide. So it is taxable, and that value in case of motor vehicles is different, which we will be dealing in the succeeding slides. Is this clear? Okay.
Yes.
Next. Transfer of movable assets. So if the company is transferring the assets from the employer name to the employee's name, it is a perquisite. When the transfer of asset is taking place, then what is the value of perquisite that you're supposed to take while calculating income from head salaries is, if the transferred is an computer or electronic item. So if transfer means what? Sale type. Transfer means where now the asset will be owned by whom? The employee. Okay, transfer is not use. There is difference between transfer and use. Transfer asset will be finally or transferred of the employee. So it is a perquisite. So what is the value of perquisite? Depreciated value of that asset. Okay. Now, depreciated value of the asset means in case of computers and electronic items, you have to charge depreciation at 50% on WDV method for each completed year of usage. Now, depreciation, how to calculate depreciation on WDV, we have already seen in our first semester. So I hope you all know how to calculate depreciation. So if it is computers and electronic items, you have to take the depreciated value of that asset. Depreciation will be calculated on at the rate of 50% WDV. Suppose it is motor car. Now Padmaja's doubt was use of motor car. Here there is a transfer of motor car. So depreciated value of that motor car, the depreciation is charged at 20% on WDV for each completed year of service, each completed year of usage. In case of motor cars, depreciation you have to take at 20%. Any other asset, any other means which is not a computer, electronic item or motor car, then value of perquisite will be depreciated value of asset, but depreciation will be computed at the rate of 10% on straight line method for each completed year of usage. So you will need to know the advantages of depreciation and method depreciation has to be followed for the particular asset. So for computers and electronics, it is 50% WDV. For motor cars, it is 20% WDV. And for any other asset, it is 10% SLM, straight line method. Is this clear? Can we move ahead, students?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have finished. So we have finished seeing all the perquisites which are taxable in case of all the employees. So here you need not categorize the employees. Let it be any kind of employee in the organization. If these perquisites are given, it will be taxable. Next, let us see perquisites which are exempt from tax in case of all the employees. Means now we are going to see list of perquisites which if given to any type of employees, it will be exempt. You need not take it in the calculation of income from the head salaries for that particular employee. So quickly on my left hand side, I have the type of perquisite, and on the right hand side, what is the meaning of that perquisite is actually given on the right hand side. So telephone. So usually telephone is provided by an employer to his employee at his residence. So it is exempt from tax. Transport facility, if anything is provided. See, all these are, but transport, do I need to explain what is transport? So transport is provided by an employer engaged in the business of carrying passengers to his employees, either free of charge or concessional rate. When I say concessional rate, I hope you all have understood now what is the meaning of concessional rate. Now, if any privilege passes or privilege tickets are given, that is exempt from taxability. Next, perquisites allowed outside India by the government. So suppose if perquisites are allowed outside India by the government to a citizen of India for rendering services outside India, so it will be exempt. Employers' contribution to staff group insurance scheme, that also is a perquisite, but it is exempt. Annual premium by employer on personal accident policy, it is exempt. Refreshments. Refreshments means any food snacks, meals given by the employer to the employee during office hours premises. So whatever refreshment has been provided by the employer, it will not be chargeable to tax. Subsidized lunch. Many a times, some companies they have dinner depending upon their office hours. It has been provided to the employee by the employer to the employee. So such lunch provided also, though it is a perquisite, though it is an extra additional benefit over and above normal salary, it will not be chargeable to tax. We have some more list. Let us see. Recreational facilities, like many a times, like in Infosys we have this gym facility in the campus itself. We have club facilities, we have lots of swimming pool. Okay, so different types of facilities that are being provided. Okay, so there is no though it is a additional benefit, there is no need to calculate the value of it. Then amount spent on training of employees. Many a times, uh, the organization provides training to the employees on certain new aspects, or maybe to when he's a fresher, to train him as to how to go about to work towards the working environment in the organization. When in training is provided, it is exempt. Next, sum payable by the employer to the recognized provident fund or any approved superannuation fund. Okay, so that is again being exempt, provided it is established under the Coal Mines Provident Fund or Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provident Fund Act. So it has to be recognized under under any particular act, and then the exemption is given. Leave travel concession. See, leave travel concession is given, but remember, it is provided to the High Court only if such leave travel concession is provided to the High Court judges or Supreme Court judges and the members of his family. Then they are completely exempt without any conditions. Otherwise, we have already seen the conditions in our previous class. Based on that, the will be decided. Medical facilities are again exempt from tax based on some prescribed limit. It is usually 15,000 is the limit. Above that, it will be taxable, but up to 15,000 it will be exempt. Then rent-free official residence. Now, rent-free of official as residence will be exempt only if it is provided to a judge of a High Court or Supreme Court. Rent-free furnished residence will be again exempt, provided it is given to an officer of parliament, union minister, and a leader of opposition in parliament. And conveyance facilities, it is again exempted, provided it is given to a High Court judge, okay, or a Supreme Court judge. So these are all the perquisites that are exempt from tax in case of all the employees. Okay. Next, we will be seeing perquisites taxable only in hands of specified employees. Now we will be seeing perquisites that are taxable and only in case of specified employees. Now, what is the meaning of specified employees? Remember, students, this is very important. You have to understand who is a specified employee. Specified employee means a person who is a director of a company. Suppose if any director of a company and he is getting things, if he's getting below tag perquisites, then it will be taxable only in. Next, any person who is carrying at least 20% of voting power in the company. Who is a specified employee? Either he's a director of a company or any person who is carrying at least 20% of voting power in that company, or his salary after the deductions under section 16, okay, is greater than 50,000, then he becomes a specified employees. So if he is earning a salary which is more than 50,000, even after the deductions given under the head income from salaries, then he will become a specified employee. Now, salary means you all know basic salary, DA, bonus, commission, taxable allowances, excluding perquisites. Excluding perquisites, whatever, and minusing deductions, whatever salary is earning which is more than 50,000, then he becomes a specified employee. So who is a specified employee? Quickly, if he's a director of a company, if he's a person having more than 20% of voting power, and if he after minusing the deductions and not considering perquisites is greater than 50,000, then he becomes specified employee. Okay, now let us quickly see perquisites on the left hand side and how to value that on the right hand side. So how to value the perquisites. So suppose if the specified employee is given a sweeper, gardener, watchman, or personal attendant. Many a times, top management, whoever is there in the top level employee in the organization, usually company is giving them extra benefit. Extra benefits mean like it is giving him accommodation also, plus sweeper in the house, gardener, watchman, and personal attendant. And then what is the value of this perquisite you will take is actual cost by the employer by the way of salary paid or payable for such services minus amount paid by the employee. This minus amount paid by the employee will come only when there is a concessional rate that is charged by the specified employee by the employer. If not, then it will not come. So if any sweeper, gardener, watchman, or personal attendant is given by the employer to the specified employee, obviously employer is going to pay the sweeper, gardener, watchman the salary. So what the salary or the monthly charges. So whatever actual monthly charges or the salary is paid by the employer to such persons, that will be value of perquisites. So remember in the start also I told you value of is nothing but the monetary value of the kind. Kind means all the kind, right? These are not money that is given to the specified employee. So you have to just convert that into the monetary value. That will be the value of perquisites. Next, facility of use of gas, electricity, or water supplied by the employer. Suppose he is staying in an accommodation where gas has been provided. I'm a specified employee, and suppose the gas, cooking gas has been provided by the employer to me. Electricity charges bill is paid by the employer. Water is supplied by the employer. Then what is going to be the taxability of such perquisite? Again, amount paid on account by the employer to the agency supplying gas or agency supplying electricity or water minus amount paid by the employee. Minus amount paid by the employee will come only if the employee is giving something back to the employer. Otherwise, it will not come. Next, free or concessional tickets. If any free concessional tickets is given by the employer to the employee, then again amount paid on account of the by the employer to the not to the agency supplying gas, to the firm or uh, to the agent providing the tickets minus amount paid by the employee. Next, free or concessional education facility. If any education provided the employer employee for his children, okay, sum equal to the expenditure incurred by the employer minus amount paid or recovered by the employee. So the education fees is being paid by the employer, okay, or fees is 50,000, but the employer is just collecting 10,000 from the employee. So it is at concessional rate. So free or concessional education facility, it is whatever actual expenditures incurred by the employer in the payment of the fees for the children employee. Now, use of motor car, we have a separate big provision for that. So we will be seeing in the next slide. Have you all understood this, students? It is very simple, nothing much. Only remember you have to convert non-monetary benefit into monetary benefit, and that will be the value of perquisites. Whatever is the actual expenditure that is incurred by the employer, that will be the value of perquisites. And if it is given at a concessional rate, then you have minus whatever amount is recovered by the employee. That is it. So have you all understood this? Use of motor car is the last explanation, and after that we finish the perquisites and their valuation. Then in the next class we will be seeing problems on perquisites. Have you all understood this slide, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When we solve problems, students, you all will understand it much better. Okay. Next. Valuation of motor car. Now, as Padmaja told, like if motor car is been given to the employees for use, motor vehicles is given to the employees for use, what is the value of perquisite that has to be taken in calculating income from the head salaries? So let us see. There are different scenarios where the car is owned or hired by the employer. Okay, first case is where the car belongs to the employer or either he's taking on hire for the employer. The employer is taking out on hire, and the expenses of the car, like the maintenance, running expenses. See, car also has maintenance, servicing expense, maintenance expense. If the expenses is met by the employer itself, and it is giving to the employee who's wholly using it for office purpose. So when the employer is giving any motor car to the employee which is completely used for office purpose, remember that it is not a perquisite and will not be charged tax. Why? Because for office and not for his purpose. Okay, for in all the three cases. Next, partly personal use means maybe after working hours, the employer is allowing the employee to take it home and use it for a personal purpose also, in non-working hours also. So suppose if it is used partly for personal use, if the motor car is partly used for private and partly used for office use, then what is the value of perquisites? It depends upon the of the engine. If the engine capacity, cubic capacity of the engine is of the motor car is up to 1.6 liters, then you have to take perquisite value as 1800 per month. Means you have to multiply it with 12 depending upon the number of months the employee has used the vehicle. And if the cc engine capacity of the motor car is above 1.6 liters, it will be value of perquisites you have to take is 2400 month, which is fixed. Depending upon the number of months the employee has used the vehicle, you have to multiply with that many number of months. Okay, along with motor car, if the employer is also providing driver, if chauffeur is also provided along with the, this is nothing but driver, if chauffeur is also provided along with the car, then 900 per month should be added to the above value. You will calculate the above value, plus you should also add the value of the driver, which is fixed under the provisions as 900 per month. So remember students, first scenario is if the motor car is belonging to the employer, expenses also are met by the employer, and the car is used 100% for office use, no value, that is it is not a perquisite. Suppose if it is partly used for personal and office use, then depending upon the engine capacity of cc engine capacity of the motor car, you have to calculate the per value. 1.6 is 1000 per month, 1.6 liter 2400. And if driver is also provided, if driver is not provided, your calculation will end here. If driver is also provided, you have to add 900 per month to the above value. Now second situation is where the car is owned by the employee. Okay, employee is owning the car, but all the expenses are met by the employer. When I say expenses means all running expenses of the car, maintenance of the car is met by the employer, and is used wholly for office use, obviously no value. If it is used for personal and office use, then actual amount of expenditure incurred by the employer, whatever employer is incurring the expenses on the car, okay, as reduced by the perquisite value arrived at one above. So you have to mind whatever value you will get in calculating here, you have to minus it with the actual amount incurred by the employer. Why are you reducing it? Because the car is belonging to the employee. Next, the next thing is where the car is owned by the employer and the expenses are made by the employee. So employer is just giving car, but is telling the employee you are going to look after the running maintenance charges of the car. Then wholly office use, so there is no question. Partly personal use, then again you have to see the cubic capacity of the engine. If it is up to 1.6 liters, perquisite value will be 600 per month. If it is above 1.6 liters, it will be 900 per month. And if driver is also provided, then you have to add 900 per month to this perquisite value. Then you will get the value of motor car, which you have to take under the heading of perquisites while calculating income from the head salaries. So have you understood this valuation of motor car? Remember students, in perquisites, entire perquisites that we have seen, important is motor car, valuation of motor car, and valuation of rent-free accommodation. These two are very, very important. Rest others you can just go through, and the rest others is just converting the non-monetary benefit into monetary benefit. So have you all understood this valuation of motor car? All these information in the problem, like what the cubic capacity of the engine, it will be given in the problem, and whether the car by the employer, expenses met by the employee, all this information will be given in the problem. Based on the information, you have to select the provision and solve the problem. So have you all understood the this slide, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, everyone has got
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
Okay, in our next we'll be solving problems on perquisites that we dealt in today. Then we have completed with entire format of income from the head salary, and then we'll begin with full-fledged problems on salaries. Thank you so much, students.